Can we get a recording of this?
Yeah. Hello, my friends. This is Iasos, and welcome to the 11th Hangout with Iasos. We're now live, and you can be watching this on YouTube. And right now, we have one person with us. I'm expecting another lady named Vera to be joining us soon. But right now, we have Tat. And Tat, why don't you introduce yourself? Go ahead.
Blessings of light. I'm Reverend Bishop Harrison Roy Heskett, Doctor of Divinity, aka Spiritual Mystic Master Tat, and people call me Tat.
Because it's a lot briefer. Tell them where you live, Tat.
I live in Oxford, New York, formerly in Hawaii, where I started the Church of Revelation Astrophysics School back in 1975 and 1976.
I remember that term, astrophysics. I visited him a while ago in Oahu.
Yes. Well, the astral plane, etheric, that kind of energy, and then physics, meaning like the study of the elements of. So it's the astral plane is the next one above the physical plane.
So, Ted, why don't you tell people what your current focus is in life?
Well, focusing now, I'm putting on videos. I got 105 videos on YouTube, and I'm putting all my work on my website, apscor.com. And for the last 41 years that I've been doing the work. And so I'm primarily focused in on giving the information for the next age. The people, when we move into the fourth dimension and the sixth root race comes in, some of them are already coming in. And fifth root race was not on the path. And in 1974, I was given the assignment to open up the Rainbow Bridge. And so I did the Rainbow Bridge meditation for the first time on the radio on KNDI in 1976.
Wonderful. You know, speaking of the 6 root rate pieces, people coming in now, I actually have a niece, one of my sister's daughters, that is definitely one of those people, because she just sent me a question which she'd love for us to comment on in this Hangout. And let me share the question with you, see if you have any comments on it, okay?
Okay.
So what my niece, Chelsea, whom I love very much, asked is this. Is there a divine plan or destiny? I'm beginning to imagine not only that there's destiny, but that the individual destiny is an illusion, just a part of the whole, like collective consciousness. There's the illusion of the individual consciousness, but that's really just a ripple in the wave of greater consciousness, right? Can we know this, or does it go back to belief and faith?
We can know this. We're in the fifth root race that's on the planet now, and we're developing each level of our consciousness. We're going through the throat chakra, creative powers, and you can see how they have got into the media in that. And the sixth root race that's coming in will be in the brow chakra with all the supernatural powers, the abilities to have insight and perception, see the past, present, future, imagination, visualization, and they'll be able to manifest their light bodies. I did that in 1993 at Wood Valley Temple in Hawaii on the Big Island. And I demonstrated a transfiguration at that time of what we could be able to move into our light bodies. And so I have a picture of that on my website. But there definitely is a plan that unfolds. And we have gone through each level of the consciousness from our primitive animalistic consciousness, which we came into out of the etheric plane, and we're developing into an eternal life of a light being, where we'll be able to move at the speed of thought anywhere in creation with the accumulated consciousness of all that is, was, and ever will be in wisdom, truth, and love. So there definitely is a plan. and it's God's plan. If you want to say God or that one or the source or a Yahweh or Jehovah or thatness or whatever you want to call that one in whom we all move and live and have our being.
Thank you, Tat. Thank you for sharing all that. Let me add to what you had to say. Um, in my understanding, well, a great physicist, I believe it was Oppenheimer, I'm not sure, but I believe it was Oppenheimer. He said that the sum total of all the minds in the universe is one. There's only one mind, and each of us, our individual mind, is a subset of that one mind. And a great metaphor for that is you can have a bucket filled with water. If you put that bucket in an ocean underwater, it's still filled with water, but the water in the bucket, you can think of it as your individual mind, but it's still connected to the entire ocean.
Yeah.
And water can
Like
come
the drop in the ocean.
Yeah. So you do have an individual mind, but it's really part of the one big universal mind. And in terms of destiny, my understanding is that when your higher self chose to project a small, tiny part of itself into one particular time-space matrix, for instance, an incarnation somewhere at some point in time, some point in space, it did it with an agenda. For example, it might have an agenda. I want you to experience being a singer in this lifetime, okay? But once the incarnated consciousness incarnates, it has total free will. It can ignore that agenda, it can follow it, or it can follow it any different way it wants. For example, you could be a singer in a club, you can be a singer in a church, you can be a singer in a synagogue, you can be a world-class singer like Celine Dion. So you have total free will of how you're going to fulfill that destiny, or if you even want to fulfill it at all, which you don't even have to because you have free will. Your higher self incarnates you with a particular intention or desire, but it also honors your free will. So once you're incarnated, you're free to act on that or not act on that. In general, you'll be much happier and have a much more fulfilling life if you do act on it, but you still have free will. Now, in terms of how do you know when you're doing your destiny? How do you know if you're fulfilling the intention of your higher self? A simple way to find that out is follow your excitement. You know, every day, just ask yourself, of everything that's available for me to do right now, what's the most exciting option? And if you act on that, then you're following the guidance of your higher self. Why is that? Because excitement is an energy that is set up when you're in alignment with your higher self. In other words, if you're thinking about doing something and your higher self says, yeah, do that, it sends you an energy which you experience as excitement. So you can use that as a compass heading from your higher self, which way to show you which way it's hoping you will go. It honors your free will, but it's guiding, go this way, because it has a much bigger view of what your options are than we can see from down here. It has a much vaster view. So sometimes what it's suggesting may not seem logical, but it knows things that we do not yet know. That's always the best way. So if you follow your guidance with integrity, then you always end up doing your life's plan.
Yes. When I came into this body in 1964, it took me till 1974 to be able to take it over from the entity it was in it. And the entity was in it was to prepare for my incoming. My grandmother, my great-grandmother, and my mother sat in a trinity in 1937 and called for me to come into being. I'm the 7th generation of healer, teacher, minister in our family, the first male. And my assignment was to take it from the family structure and secret organization structure and these other spiritual organization structures out to the world so that everybody could have the information. And so when I came in 1974, taking over, my assignment was to bring about the power through the Rainbow Bridge meditation, which I went over and had a revelation with a direct experience with thatness or God or whatever you want to call that ultimate reality. It was given the Holy Spirit and all the powers of the Holy Spirit, and in given the powers of the mystical fields and the esoteric and the arcane fields, as well as the religious fields. And I went from taking over the persona of the entity that was in the body, developing the body, and I had to take on that persona and that memory in order to function in this dimension. And as I came from the sixth root race and the fifth root race during mission into being. Well, immediately realized the mission in 1974. I began to work on it, and from that point, I've been doing nothing but this. Before that, the interview that was prior to the I am that I am now, this body is age 76, but my age starts in 1974. So you can see that my image is of a 70-year-old man.
I understand. A walk-in, in other words.
So I came in and took the body over and stopped that growth for 20 years in order to hold the image.
Good.
And
Good.
I've been doing the work ever since.
Good for you. Good for you, my friend, my old friend. I want to remind the people that are watching on YouTube that if you're watching this live, you can type in comments in the comments section underneath the YouTube you're watching, and we can respond to that live, if you like. If you want to put in the comments while we're actually talking. So back to the question that Chelsea was asking. Yeah, there's an individual mind, but that individual mind is actually just a tiny subset of the one universal mind, which is why telepathy is possible, because we're just one part of the ocean talking to another part of the ocean. It's just one ocean. There's nowhere to go.
As I did readings over the radio and the television, people would say, "How are you doing? How are you reading my aura?" And you're sitting in a radio station. I'm here in Denver or Seattle or Los Angeles, and I said, "Well, I'm doing it over the air."
Yeah.
Over the air, I said, "Well, there is only one mind, and we all say we have our mind."
Yes.
Is a small drop in the ocean of supreme consciousness of the mind of light.
Yes.
First mind that holds all things in form. So it's your mind that holds all things in form. When you make a transition from your personality, little ego, to your higher self, you get access to collective consciousness of other beings that are in the same consciousness as you. But then as you go to the transcendental field, which is the third triad, you get the full experience of the universal mental strata of infinite intelligence, and you can go anywhere in that by reading the Akashic record of any form, any entity, anything. They all have a record. As the light is bombarding on the planet is moving, and it leaves these images behind. It's like taking pictures of everything that's going on, from the smallest quark in the atom to the fullness of a whole cosmos.
The whole thing's recorded.
Everything is recorded, and you have a recording angel. You can call it an angel, a messenger from God that says, "I'm recording everything that you do," and he's done that from the time you were created, when that one said, "Let there be light," and the light manifested. You were there, and you have come in an involution to this physical plane, and now you're in an evolution back to the spiritual plane.
Yeah. From oneness into form, from form back into oneness.
Yes, perfect. That's it.
Yeah. Even if you just talk to somebody on the phone, instantly you're actually etherically connected with them, which means if you really tune in, you can get all kinds of information just from the etheric connection, just by talking to them on the phone. A simple thing as that.
Yeah, the first thing I do is say, "What is your name?" Because the name's the nature of. See, God gave Adam the privilege of naming all the animals, so you have dominion over them. Whatever you name, you have dominion over. That's what the scientists do. They discover something and they give it their name so that it have dominion. And so you should realize you have dominion over yourself by your own name. And anyone that gave me my name, their name, me, I immediately was tuned into the Akashic record. But I never went there unless I asked them to go. My grandmother that brought me into this body said, "Don't be nosy. Don't be nosing around in other people's business. If they ask, it's okay, but don't go in there and find out things that's privileged to them themselves." So I always ask permission to go into that person's oral and
Yeah.
life.
In terms of the dominion that you have over naming something, there's an interesting story about my name, Iasos. It's not the name that my parents gave me. Many years ago, in the very early 70s, I was walking down the street one afternoon and suddenly, bam, I heard it in my head really loud. And it felt like a memory of another lifetime. It felt like my father in another lifetime calling me Iasos, like, "Iasos, come in. Iasos, time for dinner. Iasos, get the firewood." And that sound, that vibration felt so comfortable in my head that I instantly decided on the spot, I'm going to make that my name, even though before that instant, I was not even thinking about changing my name. But it felt so much more natural and comfortable than the name I was given by my parents that I instantly made it my name. Then many years later, I got an interesting letter from a lady who channels a Maha Archangel that's higher than Archangel named Iasos, Iasos, same spelling as my name. And she said that she heard that there's a New Age musician named Iasos, so she was curious about my name. She was curious how I got it. Let me see if this is relevant. I got a phone call here. No, it's not relevant, so I'm not going to listen to it now. So she asked me all questions about my name. How do I get my name? How do I spell it? How do I pronounce it? What does it mean? And I answered her questions to the best of my ability. But then I asked her, I'm curious to know about your Maha Archangel that you channel who has the same name as me. Tell me about him. So she emailed me back. Well, actually, it was a letter. This is before emails existed. She sent me a letter back. And she said, answered my questions. Then she said, by the way, the Maha Archangel Iasos has a message he would like to deliver to the New Age musician Iasos. So this is Iasos, the Maha Archangel, sending a message to me, Iasos, the musician. And among other things he said was that your name was intentionally transmitted to you so you would adopt it. And the whole point of your name is that it has a mantric vibration that attunes you to the angelic kingdom so you can more accurately tune into the angelic kingdom. And you are very much loved by the angelic kingdom because you're representing our energies to mankind through your music. So thank you. We love you very much for that. And basically you're saying that the emotions in my music are conveying the type of emotions that are normal to angels, but not that especially normal to humanity. So that was an interesting little story, just as a result of me deciding to make my name Iasos. And again, we got more viewers. A reminder, you can type in questions in the comment section, and I do check it periodically, and we can respond to your questions. If you're shy, we won't even know who you are. I won't mention if you don't want me to. Yes, Tat.
Yeah, I was introduced to the angelic kingdom in that 1974 revelation. I saw angels, virtues, principalities, archangels, cherubim, seraphim, powers, dominions, and thrones, which was the 9 levels of the angelic kingdom.
Say it again, please.
There's the angels, then the virtues, then the principalities, angels are over principalities. Then there's the archangels, which are between the cosmic forces and humanity. Then there are the cosmic angels called the cherubim, which are the angels of wisdom, not like cherub of love. And then the seraphim, the powers which keep any energies that are not pure and light. out of going into the Godhead. And then there's the dominions who give the assignments to all the angels, which then transmit it down to each individual by their angels coming to them and giving them an assignment, like your angel saying, Iasos. And so you got that. That's when the master awakes. So that was the moment your master awakened. Then there are the thrones that are always there pointing towards God. The dominions are pointing back towards the earth. The powers are pointing towards God. The seraphim pointing back to earth. The cherubim towards God. The archangels are pointed back towards the earth. And then the principalities are lifting those principalities to God. And then the virtues are pointed back to earth to the angels, which then bring that message. So every time you do something, that is brought to you by an angel that drops it into your aura. So your prayer is instantly answered. But if you don't pray receiving, you won't get it. So when you pray, I receive this now. I receive this at this very moment. Otherwise, it may take a long time for them to get it. It depends on how far in the past that your attention is stuck that you get something. Hey, you're always thinking about things that happened a week ago, month, year, when you were a kid. It's going to take that long before you get it. So it's very important to stay in the present, here and now, for that's where all the power is. In the power of the presence are the things that you desire. In the power of the presence is the love that you require. Take your name. That's exactly what you guys say today. In the power of the present, the things that you desire. In the power of the present is the love that you require.
That's nice. That's nice. There are times when I couldn't really understand your voice because the connection wasn't that accurate, but most of it came through just wonderfully. Thank you, Tat. Thank you. So, is there anything you'd like to talk about, Tat? The other person, Vera, that we were expecting hasn't joined in yet. I don't know why. And the few other people had last minute reasons for canceling out. So, in the meantime, we can have a conversation. What would you like to chat about, Tat?
Well, great shift is going on at this time. There is so much information being poured out to humanity that the negative forces are trying to stop this information by uh, taking and appealing to your lesser nature, power, sex, and money. And that's where most of the mass consciousness are stuck. Power, getting some kind of power over themselves, over others, over their business, over their community, their country, their world. And then there's sex, which takes a lot of time from a person's consciousness. And then money, which takes a lot of time. Where power, sex, and money occupy the time where they can't get knowledge, creative power, and their spiritual gifts and powers and abilities. So the lower triad of power, sex, and money, physical, emotional, and lower mental, is keeping them from getting the psychic, creative, and the superconscious plane, which is the right of every individual to have that. Everybody's been given a creative power. It gives them ideas that will bring them everything they want in life. But they usually settle for less because they go and get a job they don't really like. They get with somebody they don't really like. They get bills that hold their attention and sap their strength, and they have to keep working and satisfy someone else. But if they go and transfer their consciousness from their persona over the rainbow bridge to the white light and be there in the presence, they would get the message of what they're supposed to be doing. But people don't take the time to do that. Meditation, people should meditate every day. Meditation is when you go to the Rainbow Bridge, you're going over the frequencies and vibrations of each level of consciousness and attuning to the color, which activates a chakra, which activates a musical note, which activates the state of consciousness, either the instinctive mind, the subconscious, the intellectual mind, environmental mind, the higher abstract creative mind, the superconscious mind, the cosmic conscious mind, the master mind, or the mind of life. There's 9 levels, and we've been teaching that since 1974.
Tat, do you believe that we're going into a golden age right now?
We're already in. It started in the 60s.
Yeah.
People were calling for the freedom, and then the computer came in to supply all the information that anybody would ever need. And you can get anything on your computer now. You can Google it, or you can go to Yahoo, or you can go to many different.
It's like a living encyclopedia.
Yeah, and there's Wikipedia.
So many people think they only see bad things happening on the planet. How would you explain to them that a golden age is happening, even though all they see around them from the news is bad stuff like wars, etc.?
What's happening is education is available to everyone, and that is spreading all over the world. And some of the United States, their entertainers are actually stimulating that in Africa, in Asia, and in South America. So people that didn't have access to an education and a computer are now getting a computer and an education. So that's part of the golden age, is the development of educated human beings, so that they can no longer be fooled.
Yes, especially because for centuries the power structure has been functioning as a power structure only because of deceit and secrecy and hiding. And now with the internet and whistleblowers, much of that information that has been hidden for decades and centuries is now reaching public awareness, seeping into public awareness thanks to the internet, which is quite historically profound because in the past, all avenues of information have been controlled by some central power group. And now with the internet, for the first time ever, it's democratic. Anyone can say anything to everybody. And so with this democratic freedom of expression, people are getting access to information that in the past has been hidden.
Yes, well, the Pharaoh said, don't tell the people about this power that they're like God expressing, like they're one with the one. And so the Pharaoh's teachers and that put it into the tarot cards and gave all that information through the tarot cards. But people didn't always follow them. The gypsies are the ones that took that all over the place. They hid it in numerology, they hid it in astrology, they hid it in tarot, they hid it in a lot of those ancient sciences. But the heads of government and the heads of different organizations didn't want that information, because if you tell everybody that, then you can't control them. You can't make them a slave. And their country is slaves to the media.
Exactly. I've heard that the power elite, their biggest fear is that the masses, the mass public, will realize how powerful they are. And if they do, then boom, there goes the power elite, they're gone. If and when that happens. And it's happening gradually.
It's happening. It's happening now all over the world.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So what else is new? At my end, I'm working on more music for my next album. I've completed 8 pieces so far. Some of them are available for download. Some of them I'm holding secret, so I'll have some surprises when the album comes out. The album is going to be called Essence of Lemuria. And yeah. The pieces that I finished so far that are available that you can get, at iTunes or Amazon or Bandcamp, they are called Onuam Cloud Palace, and Pan Musing, and Kapala Moon, and Buddhic Spherical Consciousness, and Sailing Over Enchanted Lands, Smooth Sailing Over Enchanted Lands. Those are the ones that are publicly available. There are a few others that I completed, which I'm holding under wraps, so I'll have some surprises when the album comes out. So 8 pieces are done. I'm now working on the 9th one, which, by the way, Ted, you may know my piece, The Angels of Comfort. This is a piece which continues where the Angels of Comfort left off. It's about, emotionally speaking, it's an octave higher. It's called Infinite Mercy and Compassion. It really has quite an effect on me just working on it. It's really probably the highest frequency emotions I've ever worked with.
Yeah, that's the Dalai Lama's message, mercy and compassion.
Say that again?
That's the Dalai Lama's message, mercy and compassion.
Yeah.
And so, talking about Lemuria, that's where we came from etherical beings into animal bodies. And we developed the root chakra in Lemuria. In Atlantis, we did the spleen and sacral chakras. And in Egypt, we did the navel chakra. And then the heart chakra came in when the Aryan race took over. And now we're working at the throat chakra and bringing out all the creative and secret ideas and creative powers. And you notice that the people that are successful in music use the 4 creative principles: color, light, sound, and motion. That's what stirs the cosmic ocean.
Yeah.
Color,
The way I think of it, for example, all my concerts have been multimedia ever since the early 70s because visuals are to me just as important as sound. And here's how I think of it. Music, it doesn't have any built-in role or obligation, but it has the potential to induce divine emotions. Likewise, visuals have the potential, not the obligation or role, but the potential to induce divine thought forms. Now, when they're working together, the music and the visuals, to induce divine emotions and divine thought forms, their synergistic, synchronistic interaction can ignite a person into an expanded state of consciousness. And that's the whole point of my music concerts. That's the whole point of my DVD Realms of Light, just to induce that. So that in the privacy, sanctity, and holiness of people's own home, they can have a spiritual experience just by putting on the Realms of Light DVD. That's the whole point of it for me.
Yeah, I remember that when you came to Hawaii in the 70s and you stayed at my house and we put on an event for you, that you used those powers even then and have been using them and unfolding them ever since. To bring that divine emotion and divine thought forms together to expand the consciousness of individuals. You're not only a new age musician, but you are a next age musician. And you are bringing the power of the next age to the new generations that are manifesting on the planet. And that music will go on into the 6th root race, which will be part of their consumption. Like we eat food to build our physical bodies, they will consume your music to expand their higher mental bodies and their spiritual bodies. It'll be like food to them.
Thank you, Tat. Thank you. I am honored.
Blessing to humanity.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I knew that then. I've been working with teachers, ministers, and healers and acting as the Mahagohan from that brow chakra, teaching them ever since 1974. So I never looked to become famous in the public because that takes a lot of your attention. And like Alan Watts says, it's all the paperwork. It takes more time than it does for you to do what you do. I was listening to him last night on a YouTube, and he was talking about business. And I realized that from the beginning. If I had to do all the paperwork and all the merchandising and advertising and that, I wouldn't have time to put out all the teaching. So instead, I developed the way to give out the teachings with tapes and audio and video tapes, books, which I wrote 7 books, and they're all on the web for free. I've always give my stuff away. I made my money by giving readings, individual readings, at $123 an hour, and that's how I made my money. The classes were always donation.
Tat, if someone watching wants to get a reading from you, how can they contact you?
They can go to apscor.com, and there's a link on there where it tells them how to get a reading from me, either over the telephone or over Skype. They can get a reading from me, and so all the information is there, the telephone numbers and everything right there.
You said apscor.com.
APS, Astrophysics School, COR, Church of Revelation, .com, APSCOR.com.
Thank you. Good. We want to support
A lot of people can't find me. I probably would get better off if I put out Astrophysics School or the Church of Revelation.
Yeah.
And when I put those out there, I got a lot more people, but it took a lot more time to answer them. So
Alan Watts was a personal friend of mine, and I love him very much, and I really miss him. He was quite a character. I really love Alan. I miss him. I love him. We were both neighbors. We both lived in Sausalito on houseboats many years ago.
Yes, I know that.
He gave me an interesting quote. Once I was on his half of the Vallejo, a ferry boat where he lived in Sausalito. He had a baby grand piano there, and I played one of my pieces for him on the baby grand, and based just on that alone, he was so prophetic. Based just on that, he gave me a quote that I could use on my music, which I do use, which is quote from Alan Watts, quote, Iasos is doing the classical music of the new age.
Yeah.
And I got that just from me playing one of my compositions on piano, not multi-instrumental stuff, but just piano.
Yes. Yeah.
He got my attention. I love the guy. He's a Capricorn like me. We got along just fine.
I never met him personally, but I studied a lot of his teachings.
Yes. He was wonderful at bringing Eastern concepts into a package that Western minds could digest and understand.
One of the powers I was given in 1974 was a power of merging. So I could merge with someone and have all their information. And not only that, I could follow their mind into the collective consciousness to see where they got that information from. And that collective consciousness is in the Van Allen belt around this planet. It's a golden field of collective consciousness and has bands of physical, emotional, mental, psychic, creative, individual, and spiritual levels and cosmic levels, and the power to the one. And so anyone can go into that by concentrating and paying attention out of their body into that field of golden light that circles our planet and get collective consciousness. Everybody has these ideas. Well, I'm getting tired of this horse, smelling its butt and having to feed it and do all that. I wish there was some other way to propel this wagon. So then someone gets the idea, gee, I got to figure a way to propel this wagon. Let me see. Maybe I can make a motor instead of a horse. So they take and they make a motor, and then they say, well, I need something to protect me. Now I need a roof. I need a windshield, I need lights, I need brakes, and they improve all of those things. And so the collective consciousness that was asking for that get an answer. So when you're wanting something, that's going into that collective consciousness, and there's someone sitting around saying, what is my mission? What am I to do here? And they get an awakening I'm Iasos. I need to create New Age music, the classical music of the future. Here you go. The next thing you know, you're doing it. Before that, you weren't doing it. Then all of a sudden, you got it. Like,
Pat, did you say this is from the Van Allen belt?
yeah, the Van Allen belt that's around the planet.
And isn't that a highly concentrated source of electrons?
Yeah, we bounce radio signals off of it around the planet.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I thought.
It's that dense. That
So you're saying it's a source of information?
yes. And what I concentrated on was the green, blue, indigo, violet, gold, and white bands. I didn't care to find out what people did personally, emotionally, and in their lower mental bodies. That's their individual expression. I wanted to know what was going on in knowledge and ideas and imagination, in the cosmos, in the mastery of all things. Because if you have a mastery of something, you have the wisdom of it, and the wisdom tells you how it works. So when you go into that band in the Van Allen belt, the golden field of light, and above that is a white field. But
Yeah.
you go into that golden band, you can say where you want to go. What field do you want to put your attention on? Attention is energy. Wherever you pay attention,
That's
you're
right.
energizing it.
Yeah.
You're causing it to create more energy. Then you get concentration.
Yeah.
Then you get observation. Then meditation, contemplation, superconscious, cosmic conscious, master conscious, spiritual conscious.
I think of attention as a beam of light that has two-way information. You energize it, and it's energizing you. You give
Yes,
your information to it, and you're also getting information from it. It's a
it's a
two-way
two-way,
of light.
a two-way street.
Yes.
Exactly. When you
You
pay
know,
attention, you're immediately getting something back. What
Todd,
you're
go
They
ahead.
say we're paying attention. You're paying attention. Wherever you pay is what you get back from. You go to the store and you pay for something, you get that. Just like if you pay attention to something, you'll get that. If you pay attention to troubles, you get your troubles.
Yeah.
If you pay attention to your success, you'll get your success.
And that's why they say, pay attention to your attention.
Yes, because that energizes and gives you power. Energy forces power. There's
Pat
all
and
these
I
formulas.
are so tuned into each other that I want to give a story from many years ago about us. But first, I want to remind those viewing right now on YouTube, don't be so shy. If you have some questions or comments, type them in. We can respond to them, okay? Because we got some shy people watching this that don't want to contribute, but you can if you like. So here's the story. When I met Tet in the early 70s and visited his home and did a concert in Oahu, we were chatting with each other, and I told him I just finished a piece of music called Crystal White Firelight. And he said he'd just been teaching a spiritual energy called Crystal Fire White Light. Almost the same name. And we thought, wow, what a synchronicity.
Yeah, white fire crystallite. White fire crystallite. That's the top of the higher, above the higher triad.
Yeah.
There's the lower, the higher, and then the transcendent, and that's in the transcendent field.
Yeah.
And I knew right away that we were cosmic brothers. Uh, as soon as I met you, I saw it in your aura, I saw it in the consciousness,
Yeah.
and I was to give you any assistance I could give you at that time, and so I did everything I could.
You were wonderful, and I still love you for it.
Yeah, I had a center at that time, and I started to teach at the Mystic Owl Center. Then I went to Unity Church and was teaching 3 classes a week, and then teaching also at the University of Hawaii. And I had so many students, over 100 of them, that I decided to open my own center. But all I had in the bank was $500. But I didn't say, well, I only have $500. I can't do it. I said, okay, I'll open that center. And within a week, people came to me and handed me checks for $5,000, $3,000, $10,000. Next thing I know, I had the money to open the center, pay the rent, get all the equipment because a organization was going out of business where they were at and going into another place because they had got a grant to for these special children. So they sold me all their equipment for $400: bookcases, duplicating machines, desks, chairs. I think it was 40 or 50 chairs, uh, all kinds of equipment that they had, all for $400. That was unheard of.
That was
And
divine will in action.
yes, and so I went in there, and then people gave me their mailing list. And the next thing I had 8,888 people on my mailing list for the first mailing I gave out of that center. We stayed up for 56 hours, never went to sleep for 56 hours, putting together 20 pages of the first newsletter we sent out. And
Must be
somebody,
really excited doing it.
even a fella gave us a duplicating machine that it would give out like 8,000 copies a minute. I mean, boom, 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 and it would just pop them out. And the thing stopped, and I didn't know how to adjust it. So I sat in there with another student of mine, and we said, "Blaze, volley, fire, blaze. Blaze, volley, fire, blaze. Blaze, volley, fire, blaze." And we did that for an hour. I
Okay,
got up.
let me stop you for a sec. For those people that don't know about the violet fire, violet flame, please explain it to them before you continue.
The violet flame is a light that comes from the sun, and it has been stopped, but now there's holes in the ozone where the violet fire is coming in. That violet fire is a higher spiritual consciousness. It gives people freedom. It gives them their powers and ability, attachment to spirit, and it transmutes, it transforms, and it transfigures things with the violet fire. You can transmute things on the physical dimension, transform things in the mind, or like I did, turn my body into light. And there was a picture taken of it at the time, which is on my website, where I used it for transfiguration. And so that violet fire has all that power in. So when you start tuning, you get it.
It's a great
When
tool
you,
for purifying energies.
yeah, as soon as you tune into it, you get it. Whatever you pay attention to, that's where it comes from. Just like that laser beam you're talking about, it'll expand. It starts as a laser beam, then it expands into concentration, then it expands into an observative field, to a meditative field, to a creative and abstract field, to a superconscious field, to a cosmic conscious field, to a master conscious field, to a mind of light. And so you can follow that violet fire through the heart, over the vagus nerves, into the center of the brain between the pineal and pituitary glands, and blaze that violet fire and shoot up through the fissure of the lando, which is in the center of the brain. It's a fissure, goes up into the center of the crown, and that catches a fire in a, you can see like Buddha sitting there and he has a flame coming out of the top of his head. That's where that fire went. It come out of the individual atma or spirit body that's in you right now. That individual atma is like an atom that controls all the other atoms in your body. It controls the DNA structure and the genetic code. So only part of that genetic code is open. So in 1974, when I got the illumination, my genetic code came open to me, and my IQ went from 120 to 237. And I just love for people to ask me questions because
Hello, are you there? Did we lose you, Roy? Tat? Did we lose you? Tat, we cannot hear you. We cannot see you. Well, maybe he can come back, but in the meantime, I want to say that we can thank Saint Germain for the transmuting violet flame because Saint Germain engineered that spiritual energy. And
You have to give.
oh, you're back. Are you back, Roy? A tat?
Yeah.
Please continue. We lost you for a bit, but continue.
Okay. As you change the genetic structure in your DNA, you open up the field. So you should bombard your body with light, and the violet fire will transmute any negatives that are bound in the cells of your physical body, in your emotional body, your mental, and so on and so forth, till you become enlightened, liberated, and enlightened. Liberation comes in the golden field, and enlightenment comes in the white field. So as you go over the rainbow bridge, you're bombarding your body with that color. You're seeing it moving in and around and through you, in front and back, on the left, the right, above and below, and it bombards all the cells of your body, and it starts attuning you to the center of the hue.
You
The
know,
center of the hue is like, you ever see the Chinese colors? How they got red and they got green and blue and gold and stuff in their restaurants and in their establishments.
yes.
That's that's called the Tao, or the center of the hue. And so that's the bridge you want to go over. That's also the psychic bridge that opens your psyche to the universal soul, your soul to the universal soul. So it's your knowledge to all knowledge, your individual to all in the individual, your emotions to all emotions, your mind to all minds, your soul to all souls. And then your creative power, like you are bringing forth that creative power in such a way that it is opening souls. You are transmuting negatives in the soul of the people that listen to your music, and it gives them enlightenment. And the more they listen to it, the more enlightened they will become. We used to have it going on all the time in the background in our center and in our house. We played your music all the time. I remember you giving us an individual concert. Remember that?
Ted, you know what I remember? When we were driving through the streets of Oahu together, if you see something happening out on the street that was really negative, I remember you projecting the violet flame to it. You do
Yeah.
that when we were driving around there. I remember that.
Yes, yes. Oh, yes. That was transmuted, transmuted. I remember when we were on Maui. Remember when we were staying at
Yes,
that condo from Eric Kalalani Rolfe
yes,
got us over
yes.
there? And you
Mhm.
were teaching me how to see things in a musical way. Like you'd lay on our side, and then we see the peaks of the mountain, and each peak was a note, and then you would play those notes.
I remember that if you're laying on your sides, you notice all different colors in the sky more
Oh, yes,
because
yes,
they're used to seeing them stratified this way, but we're not used to seeing stratified this way. If you lay on your side 90 degrees, you see them in different ways, so your mind really pays attention more and notices all the subtle different grades of color that you didn't notice when you're seeing it the way you normally do because your brain doesn't pay that close attention.
yeah. Mostly we're thinking vertically when we should be also seeking to see horizontally. When I was with Saya Baba, he taught us that, and that's why I've got this uh, brow here that is always concentrated, so I can see laterally on the horizontal field. And my peripheral vision doesn't stop where my eyes see. It comes together behind me and in front of me so I can see 360 degrees in my mind. Your mind can see more than your physical eyes can
You
see.
know, that's why I did my piece called Buddhic Spherical Consciousness. The idea is that you can perceive in all directions around you, not just in a circle, but in a sphere, all directions. That's what
Yes,
it's called, Buddhic Spherical Consciousness.
that's called the eye of Indra, the sphere. Because you go into the center of the sphere and you open an eye this way and that way in every direction until all the eyes are open around the whole sphere and you can see in all directions.
Yeah, yeah.
called the Eye of Indra in Indian Shivanism.
Yeah, my understanding of that is each of us is really not just our body, but we are everything. So focusing in another direction is really closing your eyes in one place and you're opening your eyes in another part of who you are, which is everything.
Yeah, everyone is a part of you. Like Paramahansa Yogananda said, all minds are my minds. All people are my people. All bodies are my body. And he was identifying with that very idea that you just expressed.
Yeah. You know, we have just a few minutes left, Tat. Would you please, for those that tuned in a little bit late on the YouTube or, on the YouTube, for those that tuned in late, would you please give people your website once again in case they want to get more of your information?
Yes, you can get all of my videos and all of my teachings and everything on apscor.com. apscor.com. And there's 4 different areas you can go into. Whichever one these things are moving, like it says APS Home. You hit that and you'll get a whole bunch of teachings. You'll get different menus that give you all kinds of information. You can hit the video that goes to YouTube and see 105 different videos on all the different subjects that we have been putting out. I took several hundred of my audio tapes and I transferred them to MP3. And I took videotapes and I put those to DVDs. So I have CDs and DVD quality to give out. And that's what I've been putting on my website, and that's what I've been putting on the YouTube, all those classes and things that I taught.
Right. We're almost closing. Before we close, I'm going to give one last chance for those watching on YouTube. If you want to type in any question in the comments field, here's your last chance before we close. Do it now. Do it now. Type it in and I'll check to see if there's anything else that's come in. So far, all you viewers are being kind of shy, which is okay if that's what you want, but if you have any questions, that's fine too. Okay, so I don't see any questions. So any final remarks, my friend, before we go?
If anybody has any questions for me, they can always email it. Email me and I'll answer their questions. I want to thank you, Iasos. This has been a privilege and an honor to serve with you today. I want to thank you. It's very
heartwarming for me to see you again after all these years. It warms my heart. My brother.
It's wonderful to see you. You've always been in my heart. And I pray for you every day and have since 1974. And I watched you age in my prayers. Because the people I pray for, I see them.
Thank you.
And their faces flash before me. And I pray for their wealth, health, and happiness, their prayers to be answered, their talents and abilities to be expressed, and that they find their mastery and express it. And there's a daily prayer on my website that I say every day, and people can hear that. And it has been an honor. And I love you with all my heart and soul, and I adore you, and I thank God for you and the wonderful work you're doing, because it has filled my heart, and I'm told all my people about you and sent them your website and everything so that they could get introduced to you.
Thank you, Tat. Thank you, Tat. Okay, my friend, that's it for this particular Hangout. Love you all much. Have a wonderful time. Bye-bye.